At some point, shopping for a CPU stopped feeling like buying a computer part and started feeling like trying to solve a puzzle that nobody ever explains properly. You open a store page or watch a few videos and suddenly you're drowning in names. Ryzen this, Ryzen that, numbers everywhere. Letters added at the end that seem important, but no one explains what they actually mean for you. And the worst part, everyone talks like you already know the basics, so you end up guessing, or overspending, or buying something cheap and then wondering why your computer doesn't behave the way you expected. If that sounds familiar, you're exactly where most people start. Because before you understand Ryzen, you have to understand expectations. What you think a computer should do versus what a certain CPU is actually built to handle. And that story always starts at the bottom. With Ryzen 3. Ryzen 3 is where many people meet AMD for the first time, especially students, office users, and first-time PC builders. It exists for one simple reason: to make computers usable, responsive, and affordable without asking you to empty your wallet. Think of Ryzen 3 like a reliable daily commuter, not a race car, not a luxury SUV. Just something that starts every morning and gets you where you need to go. Most Ryzen 3 processors come with 4 cores. You don't need to know what a core is in technical terms. All that matters is this: it's enough to handle everyday tasks comfortably. Web browsing feels smooth. Emails open instantly. Streaming videos plays without stuttering. Online classes, Zoom calls, and office work run just fine. Light games? Yes, absolutely. Minecraft, Valorant, League of Legends. Games like these work well as long as you understand what Ryzen 3 is meant for, and this is where things usually go wrong. Ryzen 3 doesn't fail people. People fail Ryzen 3. Someone buys the cheapest CPU they can find, then tries to edit 4,000 video or run heavy modern games at maximum settings, and suddenly they're angry. But that's not the CPU's fault. That's like buying a bicycle and being upset it can't pull a truck. Ryzen 3 has a clear job: give you a smooth, usable computer for normal, everyday tasks. And when you pair it correctly, it actually feels better than most people expect. Add enough memory, use fast storage, don't overload it with unrealistic demands. Suddenly, a budget system feels quick, apps open fast. The system responds instantly, nothing feels broken. For students, families, home offices, and people building their first PC, Ryzen 3 is honest. No tricks, no ego, just enough power to do what it's supposed to do. But then something interesting happens. After using Ryzen 3 for a while, many people start thinking the same thought. This is fine, but what if I want more? More tabs open, more games, more multitasking. More freedom to push the system without thinking twice. And that's exactly where Ryzen 5 enters the picture. Ryzen 5 isn't just a small step up, it's a shift in mindset. This is the point where a computer stops feeling like good enough and starts feeling confidently capable. Ryzen 5 usually comes with 6 cores, and what that means in real life is simple. Your computer has more breathing room. Gaming becomes smoother. Multitasking becomes effortless. Streaming, recording, editing all start to feel realistic instead of risky. This is the tier where people stop asking, "Can my PC handle this?" and start assuming it probably can. And there's a reason Ryzen 5 is so popular. It sits right in the middle between price and performance. It doesn't try to impress you with extremes. It just delivers where most people actually live. Gaming at 1080p. Easy. Gaming at 1440p, still comfortable. Running Discord, a browser, a game, and a recording app at the same time, no panic, no slowdown. Ryzen 5 feels like a friend who doesn't complain when things get busy. And here's an important truth that almost no marketing material says out loud. For the majority of gamers, Ryzen 5 is already more than enough. Modern games don't magically use unlimited CPU power. They're designed to run well on reasonable hardware. So when someone buys a much higher tier just in case, they often end up paying for performance they never actually touch. It's like buying a massive truck for a daily commute through traffic. Looks impressive, costs more, but doesn't really change your life. Ryzen 5 is the balance point, strong enough that you don't have to worry but sensible enough that you're not wasting money. That's why it's so popular with gamers, content creators just starting out, and people who want their PC to last several years without feeling outdated. And compared to Ryzen 3, the difference isn't just speed. It's confidence. With Ryzen 3, you're careful. You think before opening more apps, you close things you're not using. With Ryzen 5, you stop thinking about it, you just use the computer. And that's the real upgrade, not numbers. Not charts, but the feeling that your system is keeping up with you instead of you managing it. At this point, most people are already satisfied. Ryzen 3 covers basic needs. Ryzen 5 covers almost everything else. But there's a moment, usually when someone starts streaming, editing seriously, or running multiple heavy tasks at once, when good enough stops being good enough. And that's when Ryzen stops being about budget and balance and starts being about real power. What happens when Ryzen isn't just capable anymore but genuinely powerful? That's where things change completely. At some point, a computer stops just keeping up and starts feeling like it's always one step ahead of you. That's the moment people notice something change. Apps don't just open quickly. They open while other things are already running. Games don't just run smoothly. They keep running smoothly even when you're recording, streaming, or multitasking in the background. This is where the conversation moves beyond good enough. This is where Ryzen starts to feel powerful. The first step into that territory is what comes after Ryzen 5. This is the point where people stop asking, will this run? And start asking, how much can I do at once? Ryzen 7 exists for that exact question. This is where AMD shifts from everyday performance to serious multitasking. Instead of 6 cores doing a lot of work, you now have 8 cores working together. In real life, that doesn't mean twice the speed. It means fewer compromises. You can game while recording gameplay. You can edit video while background tasks keep running. You can stream, chat, render, and browse without your system feeling tense. The computer doesn't feel like it's juggling. It feels like it's comfortable. This is the tier where people who do a bit of everything finally feel seen. Gamers who also stream. Creators who edit but still want high frame rates. Developers compiling code while keeping browsers and tools open. Ryzen 7 doesn't demand attention. It quietly handles more than you expect, but here's something important that often gets misunderstood. Ryzen 7 is not automatically better for everyone. If your PC usage is still mostly gaming, and you're not streaming or creating content, the real-world difference compared to Ryzen 5 can be smaller than people expect. This is where a lot of buying mistakes happen. People see a higher number and assume it must mean a better experience. But performance isn't just about more cores, it's about how those cores are used. Ryzen 7 shines when your workload overlaps. When multiple heavy things happen at the same time. If that's not your reality, this tier can feel impressive on paper but underused in practice. Now, once people cross that line, the next question usually comes fast. If this is powerful, what happens when I go all the way? That's where Ryzen 9 enters the picture. This is not an upgrade, this is a different mindset. Ryzen 9 isn't designed around gaming first, it's designed around production. 12 cores, 16 cores. This is the level where your CPU stops reacting to your workload and starts absorbing it. Video timelines get heavier, 3D scenes get more complex, exports happen faster. Renders stop feeling painful. Ryzen 9 doesn't just multitask, it stacks tasks. You can be rendering a video, encoding a stream, and still keep working without your system slowing down. For professionals, that matters. Time saved on every render adds up across weeks and months, but here's the truth that rarely gets said clearly. If your main goal is gaming, Ryzen 9 is often unnecessary. Modern games don't scale endlessly with core count. Once you pass a certain point, extra cores sit idle while you're playing. So buying Ryzen 9 for gaming alone is often paying for power you won't use. It's not wrong, it's just inefficient. Ryzen 9 makes sense when your computer is a tool, not just a hobby, when it's part of your work, when minutes matter, when your system earns its keep. And this is where things get interesting. Because somewhere in the middle of all this, between core counts, multitasking, and raw power, AMD introduced something that broke expectations. Not by adding more cores, but by changing how games access data. This is where X3D quietly enters the story. At first glance, an X3D chip looks familiar. Same core counts, same general architecture, but the behavior is different. Games don't just need processing power. They need fast access to the same information over and over again. Maps, textures, physics instructions. Normally, the CPU has a limited space to keep that information close. X3D chips expand that space dramatically. Instead of the CPU constantly reaching out to system memory, the data is already right there. Closer, faster, more efficient. And the result is surprising. In many games, an 8-core X3D processor can outperform a higher-core non-X3D chip. Not because it's stronger, but because it's smarter about what games actually need. This is where one of the biggest gaming myths falls apart. More cores do not automatically mean better gaming performance. Latency matters. Access speed matters. Cache matters. That's why you'll sometimes see an X3D chip beating a more expensive CPU in gaming benchmarks. Especially at resolutions like 1080p or 1440p, where the CPU plays a bigger role. X3D isn't about productivity dominance, it's about gaming consistency. Higher minimum frame rates, smoother gameplay, less stutter. And yes, there's usually a small price premium. But for gamers who care about smoothness over raw numbers, it's often money better spent than jumping to a higher tier. This is where buying decisions get tricky, because now the question isn't just how powerful is this CPU, it becomes what kind of performance do I actually want? If you're a creator first, Ryzen 9 makes sense. If you're a multitasker who does everything at once, Ryzen 7 feels balanced and safe. If you're a gamer chasing smooth, consistent frames, X3D changes the entire conversation. And this is why so many people feel confused. They're not choosing between better and worse, they're choosing between different priorities. What looks like chaos is actually specialization. Each tier isn't competing with the others, they're solving different problems. And once you see that, Ryzen stops feeling overwhelming. But there's still one assumption most people make that hasn't been questioned yet. The assumption that every powerful PC needs a powerful graphics card. Because what happens when that's not true? But not everyone even needs a graphics card. Up to this point, everything we've talked about assumed one thing, that you're pairing your CPU with a graphics card, that there's a separate piece of hardware handling visuals, games, and display. But here's the twist many people don't realize at first. Not everyone actually needs a graphics card. And that's where this next group of Ryzen CPUs quietly changes the entire strategy. Some Ryzen chips don't just handle processing, they handle graphics too, all in one. These are often overlooked, but for the right person, they're one of the smartest decisions you can make. These are the G-series processors. Think of them as the everything-in-one option. Instead of buying a CPU and a graphics card, you get a single chip that does both. Now let's be clear, this isn't about extreme gaming, this isn't about ultra settings or ray tracing. This is about practicality. A G-series Ryzen is perfect for someone building a PC on a tight budget, or someone who wants a small, quiet system, or someone who just wants things to work. With a G-series chip, you can browse, stream, work, study, and even game casually without spending extra money on a GPU. Esports titles, older games, light creative work, all playable. And here's the part most people miss. The G-series isn't a dead end, it's a stepping stone. You can build your PC today using the integrated graphics, save money upfront, and then add a graphics card later when prices drop or when your needs change. Your system grows with you. That flexibility is powerful. Instead of overspending on day one, you buy what you need now and upgrade when it actually makes sense. For students, for first-time builders, for compact setups. For budget-conscious users, the G-series isn't lesser, it's strategic. Now let's move into a tier that most home users never notice at all, Ryzen Pro. If you've never heard of it, that's normal. Ryzen Pro CPUs are not designed to impress gamers or show off benchmark numbers. They're built for something else entirely. Stability, security, control. These processors are made for businesses, office PCs, corporate laptops. Workstations that need to stay reliable for years. Performance-wise, they're similar to regular Ryzen chips, but under the hood they include extra layers of protection, hardware-level security features, enhanced encryption, tools that let IT departments manage computers remotely. Imagine being able to update, lock, or troubleshoot a system without ever touching it physically. That's what Ryzen Pro enables. For companies, this is critical. For home users, it doesn't really matter. You won't get higher frame rates. You won't render faster videos. You won't feel a difference day to day. So here's the simple rule. If you're building a personal PC, Ryzen Pro is usually not for you. If you're managing dozens or hundreds of machines in an office, it's invaluable. Different tools for different worlds. Now, everything we've talked about so far still exists in the realm of consumer PCs. Even Ryzen 9, as powerful as it is still meant to sit on a desk. But there's another level beyond that. A level most people never need and will never touch. This is where Ryzen stops being a CPU and starts becoming infrastructure. Threadripper. This isn't an upgrade, it's a different category entirely. Threadripper CPUs aren't about gaming. They aren't about casual multitasking. They aren't even about YouTube editing anymore. They're built for people whose computers make money, massive 3D renders, complex simulations, huge code bases, professional studios. These chips come with staggering core counts, dozens upon dozens of cores, but it's not just about the cores. Threadripper platforms support massive amounts of memory, multiple graphics cards, tons of ultra-fast storage devices at the same time. This is the kind of system where the computer isn't waiting for you, you're waiting for it, and even then it finishes faster than you expect. The price reflects that reality. Threadripper systems can cost as much as a car, but here's the key insight. For professionals, time is money. If a Threadripper saves hours or days of work every month, it pays for itself. For everyone else, it's overkill, impressive, powerful, but unnecessary. This isn't about wanting more power, it's about needing it. Now let's step back down from that extreme and look forward instead of upward, because the newest direction Ryzen is moving toward isn't just more cores or higher clocks. Its intelligence, Ryzen AI, these processors include dedicated hardware designed specifically for AI-related tasks, not cloud AI, not remote servers, local AI. This means your computer can handle certain AI workloads directly on the device. Image generation, voice processing, smart features built into creative software. Right now, this space is still developing. Not every app knows how to use this hardware yet, but the direction is clear. Just like GPUs became essential for gaming, AI acceleration is becoming essential for modern software. Ryzen AI chips are about future-proofing. They're not necessarily the fastest option today for every task, but they're positioned for what's coming next. Smarter tools, more automation, more on-device processing. As software catches up, these CPUs will quietly become more valuable over time. And that brings us to the most important takeaway of this entire series. Ryzen isn't random, it's not chaos, it's a ladder. Each tier exists to solve a specific problem. Ryzen 3 and 5 handle everyday computing and gaming. Ryzen 7 and 9 handle creation and heavy multitasking. X3D focuses on gaming efficiency. G-Series prioritizes budget and flexibility. Ryzen Pro serves businesses, Threadripper serves professionals. Ryzen AI prepares for the future. Once you understand that, choosing a CPU stops being stressful. You stop asking what's the best one, and start asking what's the right one for me. That mindset saves money, it saves time, and it saves regret. You're no longer guessing, you're choosing with confidence. If this series helped you reach that point, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We break down tech the same way every time, clear, honest, and practical, so you never feel lost or oversold again. You now understand Ryzen, from budget builds to professional workstations to the future of AI-powered PCs. And that level of clarity puts you far ahead of the average buyer.